right, we are loaded. I've got my area box, as you can see on the screen. Ellen, go ahead and open up the seafoam design if you would. And let's see kind of, first of all, what size we built it at originally. We're checking, did we connect it? Did we not connect it? So we're just going to take a look, and then we're going to position it inside of our area box. We're going to do a little air stitching. In case you don't know what air stitching is, or you've never done air stitching, it's basically just going through Pro Stitch or Quilt, but taking off the stitch button. That way, the machine will trace through the design without the needle stitching. And that is very helpful to just kind of get an idea as you watch the machine move, and with help of the laser light, just to kind of see, do we think that that's an appropriate size, knowing that she wants it a little tighter, but she doesn't want her quilt too stiff?
All right, so I've got seafoam open. Right now we have 3 passes that are not connected at 22.5 inches. So that means with 2 passes right now, we'd be able to go right to left. And then our 3rd one for advancing. This looks really tight to me.
Yeah, okay.
Like really tight.
Okay, so the first thing that I would do, basically Ellen opened it and centered it and aligned it inside of our area box. Now, I'm just going to make a quick announcement. We're not covering that in this video, but we do not set up our edge to edge to cover our whole quilt. Okay, so if some of you set up your edge to edge that way, it's not that you're wrong or we're right or you're right or we're wrong. It's just a different approach. All of that is in the other videos that I'm linking to, okay? So we've got how we set it up. We've got it centered. The thing that I would do is just kind of put my machine somewhere in the middle where I'm not going to hit anything. I would do Pro Stitch or New Start and End. So Ellen, just go ahead and do that. Right where I'm at, Start Auto On, Start Auto Off. You'll see right on the screen it moved the start point. And now I would do Pro Stitch or Quilt, take off the stitch button, and just hit run. And Ellen and I are going to stand here and we're going to evaluate what we think.
Oh, we are in base mode.
Oh, got to take that off.
Take that off. Okay.
All right. And all I do is I kind of look up, I kind of look down. If need be, we use the follow button. So I'm just using the follow, and I'm zooming in a little bit so that maybe I get a little bit closer look at how big those pearls are.
Yeah. Then right now it's doing part of the wave, so we can kind of get an idea of the curl as it comes in, and then how tight that curl will be as it goes out.
It's going to come up to another couple of little pearls here.
That's a tiny
That's pretty
pearl.
Small. That's pretty
Ooh,
small.
Those are small.
Okay.
All right, so right now, if you think about it, we have 3 passes that are basically 22.5 inches, right? So that means a single pass is roughly 7.5. That's tight for me.
Yeah.
I feel like, and then for this, I feel like that would be too much quilting.
Okay, so here's kind of how I approach it. Ellen and I basically do things the same, but let me just kind of explain to you how I would approach it. We already know that we're probably going to take this down to just 2 passes. I'm probably not even going to connect it. So Ellen, why don't we just get rid of that 3rd row?
Yeah, let's do that. I would agree, especially too, since we've done this design can shrink. So we're going to definitely want to pay attention to it.
So all we're doing is cropping away the 3rd row. Now we're left with 2 rows. 2 rows is how big, Ellen?
2 rows is 16.2.
Okay, let's do a modify resize, and let's resize this whole grouping. How about we take it up to like 17.5 or even 18?
Yeah, all right, 17.5. We can now see a little bit larger. If we follow and zoom back in on that.
We have
something too that we'll look at is the grid. If we turn the grid on, you can see it, since we have so many pearls, what is a pearl in reference to an inch? Because a lot of people can visualize an inch more than they can try to imagine what a pearl, circles look like. So you can see some of these are 1/2 inch. The smallest pearl is 1/2 inch right now.
Just as a way of review, on the grid, the dark gray boxes are 1 inch. The light gray boxes are 1/4 inch. So you can use that grid to make some determinations.
Yeah, so I'm glad we already went up. Because the smallest of the pearls being a half, that's a lot.
How about we take it up to 18?
Yeah, let's go up a little bit more.
All right, do pro stitch or new start and end. Let's just go right where we're at. And then we'll run it again, and we're going to watch again. And we're watching for the tightness of that curl and the purl. Ellen had to take a FedEx delivery. I just love air stitching, you guys. I use it a lot. Some of my students use the 1-to-1 aspect ratio. In my brain, that just doesn't equate to anything. I just don't understand 1-to-1. So I use air stitching a lot. And especially like when I buy a brand new design that I've never stitched before, I use air stitch a lot. Before I even go into my simulation steps or into my steps where I'm building it in Designer or connecting it or anything like that, if I buy it and I just don't have a feel for how tight it is, I throw it on the machine, even if I have a quilt loaded or not. Sometimes I do it without anything loaded, and I can just kind of get the feel even without fabric on the frame. But air stitching is a really, really great tool. Okay, thank you, Ellen, for helping out the FedEx guy.
We have batting.
Oh, wonderful. Okay, I think we're closer, Ellen. I think we could even go up a smidge more, but I think we're close.
Yeah, that already looks better.
Yeah.
A lot of times what I'll like to do too is take like an element that I know I can recognize, so the swirl, the pearl, something like that, put the crosshairs on top of it, and then I put my finger on the fabric of the quilt, and I'm going to come down to the bottom of that swirl and put my finger on the quilt. So now I can, again, have another visual reference of what that curl is going to look like. And yeah, I like that.
Okay. So now, Ellen, we have a decision to make. What we do is we have a master folder, and we've made some adjustments to a previous version of this design. So before we do any cropping, Ellen, how about we save this new version into our master folder, and then we'll have it again for later on another quilt if we decide to go up in size.
I agree. So we're going to baseline all of our changes, and we'll just save it straight into our folder. So instead of Seafoam Master 10, Seafoam...
How about just Seafoam Amara 24 not connected?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Go back to our new naming convention. That makes sense.
Okay. So that was another little tip, kind of the way that we do some naming and saving here in the studio. Now, side note, Ellen, we should throw that on your master stick, but we can do that later.
Right here?
Oh, it's right there. Okay,
yes.
So we'll make sure that Ellen's master copies has a copy of it in this form. Okay, why don't you just watch us do the rest of the cropping steps. Go ahead, Ellen. Show them how we would now go ahead and crop that out. Doesn't like my finger, apparently.
Yeah. All right, so I'm going to zoom into area. I'm going to modify crop my outside and make sure I turn on edges. Again, the way that we quilt for our passes, we want to make sure the start stop is as high as possible. So I'm going to reposition, and I'm switching my nudge to 0.1, and I'm going to just keep moving that over till the start point jumps up closer to where I want. Since the crop has not been baselined, I can change that position. Much better.
Much better. And the other thing about this design is because it's not connected, we're going to be advancing every row. Not as critical that it's all the way up to the top.
Right, but it's habit and
it's just a really, really good habit to get into.
And baseline.
Okay.
All right, so the rest, if you want to keep going, that would be in what, intermediate?
Yes, in intermediate. We're going to go ahead and get started on this, but the rest of the video is for our premium members over on MK Quilts University. So jump on over to that other video. If you're not a member, please consider joining and get all of my Pro Stitcher content. Ellen, what kind of content do you have there?
Free motion and a ton of ruler work, guys. It's where you should be.
All right, we're going to hit play on this. We've already got the other machines going. And you guys, that is a day in the life with the dynamic duo here at MK Quilts.
Yeah, really, what? We had a fabric rep, we had a delivery, we've had drops, we've had customers, we've had quilting.
The boys have been doing service calls. I mean,
we had a class. It's been everything.
So thank you so much for following us and for all your support in business. Until next time, from the Longarm Studio at MK Quilts to you. Happy quilting, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.